tell you, at least in my experience, when I first started working at Mayo, and I would be expected to speak up even just in a meeting, not even leading a presentation, immediately half the words in the English language would just be gone, and my ability to form a coherent thought. It was terrible. It was really terrible. There was a survey done by Whitworth and Cochrane who determined that public speaking is the #1 fear of most Americans. And another researcher found that public speaking is even scarier than rattlesnakes. So why would we want to do this? Well, for myself, I thought I did have some good ideas when I was in my meetings and I was talking. I wanted to be able to share those thoughts in a non-incoherent way. So that's kind of the reason that I came here. We have a member who started at Toastmasters when she started having growing in her job, in her profession, and she was expected to start giving more speeches, more presentations, leading larger groups of people. And she wanted to do a good job at it. We have a member in our audience who's shy, not public speaking doesn't come easy to her, and she comes and she's been coming for years and years to keep up that practice and do well in speaking to others. Now our Toastmasters meetings are set up, specifically designed to give us a safe place to practice our public speaking skills. You'll find on our board here we have this written down. We do this every week. We rotate roles. And you can think of the Toastmaster meeting in sort of two sections. There's the first section where we give our presentations and our speeches. And then there's the second part of the meeting where we do our evaluations and we hear our reports. As we move through our meeting, we'll have different people with different roles. And today I will be inviting each one of these people up to explain to you what it is that they do in that role. I'd like to begin by welcoming up our grammarian, Deganta. Deganta's been with us for, how long have you been with us?
Year.
Deganta's been with us for a year. And I will welcome him up to explain the role of the grammarian.
Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, my role as a grammarian is to find a word of the day which is not often used but very useful in speeches, and also to count how many times this word of the day has been used by all the people who are coming up here and speaking. Also, I am supposed to count the connectors like as, uns, so, and also I'm supposed to count like repetitions like I multiple times, and also find colorful language, use of colorful language, and that should be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deganta. Next, I'd like to invite up our timer. Also, I would like to point out the president of the club, Chris Nibby. Chris has been with the club for 2 years, and he is currently training a puppy that he is slightly worried may turn out to be a polar bear.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Wow, this is a wonderful turnout, and I am very happy that each and every one of you are here. My role as a timer today is to help keep our meetings on track from going over. Today might be a slight exception. We have so many wonderful people here that we're all about the exceptions. We like our rules, but you know, we have the special occasion where we bend them a little bit. Except for speeches. You guys have to, I have the onerous task of keeping a watch over you and making sure. Anyway, back to my task at hand. Our speakers have a set time limit that they have requested. One is 5 to 7 minutes and another is 7 to 9. When they have reached their bottom lower time limit number, they will get a green card and a green light will show at the back of the room. When When they have a minute left, they will get a yellow card, and the yellow light will turn on. And when they have reached their time limit, they do get a red light and a red card. We're pretty lenient. We do employ the Minnesota Nice, as Joe commonly calls it. That we don't do the buzzer too much, but if you will, thank you. When they get a little too long-winded, I get to bump up their time numbers and give them that buzzer. Thank you. All right, next one. We also do table topics. We usually do 1 to 2 minutes, and that is a surprise for everybody else in the room when they don't have a role. We have somebody come up and pick on you to do an instant speech. However, it is only 1 to 2 minutes, and when you have 1 minute, when you hit the 1 minute, you get the green card. When you are 1 minute and 30 seconds, you get the yellow. And when you've reached your limit of 2 minutes, you've done the perfect impromptu speech, and you may conclude and return to your seat. And then our evaluations, another important part. They are given 2 to 3 minutes to give the speakers their impressions of their speech and if they met all of their objectives in the project speeches. So when they reach 2 minutes, they get the green light and card. When they reach 2 minutes, 30 seconds, yellow, and 3 minutes, red. They should have everything said that needs to be said.
Thank you, Chris. Before I bring up our first speaker, I just wanted to mention to those of you who are guests here, you may be noticing something a little unusual about our club. The clapping. We clap whenever anybody comes up, goes away. You get used to it. I promise. Next, I'd like to invite people to go back and get some egg rolls. We've got lots of them, chicken egg rolls, so anytime, go ahead, just please not, someone, except for me. I would like to next invite up Abby. Abby has been with this club for 3 years and the Lunch Bunch for 2 years, so she's been members of two clubs. Abby is our inspiration master today, and I think that that is fitting because Abby once survived a surprise blizzard in the Alaskan tundra with nothing but Skittles and gum in her pocket. It's true. It's true.
Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, I'm going to try and inspire you a little bit today. I brought a couple of references. How do you find the next great? The next idea is out there. You have to know how to spot it. How do you unleash bursts of energy, creativity, increase spontaneity, and ultimately find these great ideas? Busy professionals like you can do this. You can move away from onerous, mundane, and dysfunctional ideas and move towards powerful and extraordinary ones. Let's first start by asking yourself this question. Am I filling my life with work? Or am I filling my work with life? Leonardo da Vinci was a world-class free-range explorer. Work and life were seamless for him. His life was spent passionately pursuing and studying nature and anatomy, and he moved those insights into his work as a scientist and artist. Another example of a free-range explorer is Walt Disney. He harvested ideas from nature, films, and of course, children. Watching wistful Charlie Chaplin films, he conceived Mickey Mouse. Spotting bored children in a rundown playground, he conceived Disneyland. To spot a few ideas around you, you need to have a 360-degree view of your world, and you have to be open to those ideas and be able to spot them. Start by asking yourself lots of questions. What's happening in the world? What's happening in your work? What's happening with the younger and older generations? What are their hopes and needs and desires? What are the latest developments in science, technology, arts, humanity, even the trends in entertainment and style? Then comes, after this exploring, serendipity. Spotting ideas that are totally unrelated when you went out searching for them. But in order for those new connections, combinations, and meaning to take place, you must listen with your eyes, your ears, and your heart. And once you push aside judgment, preconceived ideas, and fear, you will be open to those new ideas and to be able to spot them. I have a sheet in the back of the room, so please feel free to pick this up before you leave today. It's showing what this is about, 360 Exploring, and the reference it comes from is Idea Spotting by Hand. So please help yourself, and I'll leave you with this iconic quote from singer and songwriter Joni Mitchell. My career wasn't one of finding a formula and sticking to it, it was one of exploration. So let's do it.
Thank you, Abby. I'd like to move on to our first speech of the day. We will be hearing from John. Incidentally, John's he began his journey in Toastmasters 1 year ago at the open house, so he shall serve as an inspiration to all of us. John was once in a plane crash in the Bermuda Triangle, but if you want to know any more about that, you'll have to come back in November. Let's welcome John. John will be presenting Alexander's Day is the name of his speech.
One piece of clarification, I was not in a plane crash, airplane crash that I was going to be on. But you'll have to come and hear the story of the rest. So, there's a classic children's book called Alexander and the Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Let me tell you about one of those days that I had. I slept through the alarm, had to make a presentation at an 8 o'clock meeting. I walk in the door, I look down and my tie does not match. I look again, I have no belt on. I'm not going to go any farther than that. And as the day went on with things like that. At the end of the day, I decided, oh, I'm going to wash and wax my car as a relaxing. And after washing, rolled down the windows, put on music, and just kind of chilled out while we waxed the car. Got done waxing the car. Went to open the door. The door was locked. Oh, okay. Drove back to work, got my extra set of keys, and went back. Went back up to the car, and then I put my hand through the window. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, and all our distinguished guests. I'm going to talk today about attitudes. Our attitudes can be the difference between success and failure. There's going to be 3 things I'm going to talk about with attitudes: evaluating them, failing forward, and then also encouraging others. So how do you evaluate the attitude? What do you think? For example, if I stayed up late watching the Monday night football game and was well after midnight by the time I got to sleep, and my patience level wasn't the greatest thing to say. And then my kids decided to leave the light on for the 101st time, what am I going to do? Is it the kids just being forgetful? And then also thinking about, how does this fit in the big picture? And thinking about my behavior, how am I going to react to all this? Are my kids really out to get me? Or are they just being kids? There's many other areas that you can evaluate your attitudes. Your attitude is something that you can choose. Are you going to focus on the bad things that are going on? Or are you going to focus on the good things going on? Let me tell you, I had one of those mornings. It would be easy to focus on the bad stuff. But as a lot of good stuff that we can focus on. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So I told you a little bit about evaluating your attitude. The second part is failing forward. Yes, I said failing forward. So what does that mean? You have to set really realistic expectations. A couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to lose 30 pounds. If I decided I was going to lose those 30 pounds in 30 days, that would not have been realistic at all. And I would have failed. And we have to realize that we are going to fail with our expectations. I'd lose 3 or 4 pounds, I'd be all excited, yeah, I'm doing this. And then after a hard workout, I get on the scale and I'm up a pound. What was temporary? You had to look at the big picture. Where am I going with this? Am I going to bounce back? Am I going to keep it going? Another thing that I did for myself was I bribed myself. So once I hit 10 pounds and stayed there for a week, I got to buy something that wasn't in the budget. One thing just for me. And it helped. But trying to get down to those 10 pounds was really, I want to get this toy now. That's very good. Okay, so I told you a little bit about failing forward and about evaluating. So how do you encourage others? What does that mean? When somebody does something very nice for you, do you thank them? And do you thank them just in passing, or are you using real words? And something that means something to them. Something I very much appreciated about Toastmasters is that they'll encourage you, and they'll give you feedback, and tell you what the things that you are doing correct. But they'll also tell you the things that you're not doing right. I remember my speech I did about carving, and I turned my back to the crowd. And so you'd lose my voice. And they gently reminded me of that, or told me that, and that's a lesson well learned. So what are we going to sow with our attitude? Are we going to encourage people or not encourage them? So I told you some about evaluating your attitude, about failing forward, and encouraging others. So next time, when Alexander comes to visit, what is your attitude going to be?
Thank you, Don. We will now have 1 minute for evaluations. Each speaker has a formal evaluator, but anyone in the audience is welcome to also write down any notes or evaluations that they might have. And we normally have 1 minute for evaluations, but today we're going to have 2 minutes for evaluations because there's still a lot of egg rolls back there. Anyone need some? Anyone here who doesn't have some? like to introduce our second speaker, Dr. Amit Ghosh. Dr. Ghosh has been in 4 Toastmaster clubs for the last 3.5 years, and this is very impressive. He was Toastmaster of the Year for District 6 in 2014. He came in second in the humorous contest for the district in 2013 and 2015. Today he will be giving a speech called Look Before You Leap. Let's welcome Dr. Ghosh.
So when I think about the term, look before you leap, what it means is that I'm at the edge of this precipice and I'm waiting to see where I'm jumping. But no, that's not how it happens in my case. In my case, I'm bottom down and then I'm wondering, why didn't I look before I left? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. This happened to me about 6 weeks ago. 3 things were going on at the same time. The phone rang, my pager rang, tell me that I need to lift the phone. The nurse kept banging the door and my cell phone started buzzing. I look at my pager, it says the radiologist wants to talk about this nonsensical order you have put. So I listen to the thing and I discuss, okay, the CT scan with this versus that, I solved that problem. Then the nurse comes and says, you got this patient waiting for you in the next 15 minutes. I said it was supposed to be half an hour. They said, no, 15 minutes. And then the pages out here, my cell phone says, John Weimer mentorship. So I'm going to mentor John Weimer. See, I love the name John. I really love it. But there's a problem. There's too many of Johns. I can't figure out one last name from the other. So here, before I look up, I see John Wiener in the front door. He's a gentleman, maybe in his 20s, about 5'6". Looks like he's just out of the high school. I said, hi John, how are you? Please come in. Mentorship. I'm a member of 4 Toastmaster clubs. I've been mentoring, Toastmasters left and right. I don't know which club John even belongs, but I don't care. I've done it so many times, I know it inside out. I said, John, sit down. You have made the first step joining Toastmaster, John. John looks at me in surprise. I said, you did a great job, John. It will change your life. John, think about a speech as a craft, as a frame. You're going to tell us about a painting about you. John looks up, a painting? I said, yes, it's a painting. It's called the icebreaker speech. You give the first thing. You don't have to break any ice. But you talk about, what should I talk? He said, you talk about how you knew how to ride a bike, or how you found out how you could not ride a bike. Anything will be a story, John. You tell about how you did this, or how you could do this. John is really excited now. I'm looking at John. John, I said, it does not stop there. We'll have to get it out. 15 minutes is all I've got. I said, I've got this figured out. I'm a member of 4 Toastmasters club. I have mentored so many people. I've got it backward. And John, then it comes organizing the speech. You got to organizing your speech. You need 3 things. A body. First you have to say the introduction. Yes. Then the body. The body will have 3 parts. John said 3 parts. So many. I said, yes, John, if you want 6, it's okay. But the evaluations will go down. Keep it to 3. What do you want to do? John says, good. And John will teach you about vocal variety. It's like it can go up and go down. And John says, how about the stories? I said, stories, no problem. I have a mentor, Joe Shah. He teaches me how to give stories. I said, how are the stories? The stories could be a timeline, John. You were born in North Dakota, moved in South Dakota, then you moved back to North Dakota, then you got hit by a lightning, and you came to Minneapolis, Rochester, or somewhere. John said, that could be a story. I said, that's a timeline, John. That's a brilliant story. Then it could be a peak and a valley. I said, what about the peak and valley? I said, you climbed Mount Everest, then you didn't know how to get down. So that kind of stories you talk about. Escape, John. Humor is a sense. You've got to have humor, John. And then I talked about all these things. The hook. What would be the hook? How to catch your attention? I said, John, 3 weeks ago, this patient came to me from Colombia. He said, I was in Colombia, and I got stuck by this parakeet. They attacked me viciously and tenaciously. Should I be worried about rabies? John said, they said you that? I said, yes, John. That is the hook. So you have to know how to catch the people's attention with the hook. Now, John is really excited now. I'm seeing a part of John's doing that sundowning stuff, you know, when you're going rapid space and you see like the eyes going from completely open to closed. I'm like, how am I not excited to John? So I said, John, I'm going to give it to John now. I said, vocal variety I did, speech variety I did. I said, John, the best thing about Toastmaster is you learn how to persuade. You learn how to motivate. You know, you have to motivate. I said, I persuaded a patient to lose weight because I lost weight. I did it so well that the next time he came in the clinic, he wanted to be weighed without his clothes in a public place. And the nurse came running to me and said, Dr. Ghosh, you have to stop persuading your patient with power. John is now smiling as you're doing. I said, John, it doesn't stop there. John, you motivate. Finally, the 10th speech is you motivate. Once you give the 10th speech, you become a competent communicator. John says, I've seen so many incompetent speakers and so many incompetent leaders that just by avoiding what they're doing will make me a competent speaker. I said, John, it doesn't work that way. It's this book you need to follow. So how do you motivate? I said, I asked a patient, what motivates you to go to the gym and exercise? It's my mother-in-law. I said, what about your mother-in-law? He says, only when my mother-in-law leaves my house, I will be motivated enough to go to the gym. She's taking so much of my time. I said, now John is really stuck. I said, John, you get it? John raises his hand. I said, John has got now all these questions. I said, John, go ahead, ask me the question. He says, what is Toastmaster? I said, what? Aren't you from many of the Toastmaster clubs? Aren't you here for the mentoring of Toastmaster? He says, no, you wanted to mentor me because I got the Caris Award. I said, Caris Award. Oh my goodness, you are John Weimer who got the Caris Award. See, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Caris Award selection committee. A few weeks ago, I read this amazing story about this 28-year-old nurse practitioner who was so good in St. Mary's that he joined here only 2.5 years, almost like you, Ryan. Energetic. People started saying great things. This John is the best thing since apple pie and such. He's got to get this award and all that. And wrote such a great stuff about him. He got the award. But I got afraid because I read the Hollywood. I follow the topics. You know, anytime you get Oscar at the age of 28, you become a drug addict at age 35. And then you're in jail at age 40. I didn't want it to be in John, so I told the leader, I said, I want to speak with John, I want to talk something with him so that he doesn't go the track. I said, John, forget that award. Caris Award, forget. This is Mayo Clinic. You got the award, which means we honored you. You have to go to the next step. You got to do all this stuff. Forget that. Heighten your gap. Do the thing which is meant for you. Forget that you ever got the award. So I told all these kind of things to John, and John says, okay, I got it. He says, but I was really scared when you started talking. I thought I have to give speeches. Being a true Toastmaster, I said, by the way, John, that you've heard the entire mentorship on Toastmaster, here's the Toastmaster form. Why did you fill it up? Only $42. I did the math, Caribou coffee, $7, la 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 la. 6 coffees, man, even less than that. For peanuts, you become an excellent speaker. John said, I will think about it. I realized, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I look before I jumped? I just presumed that John was for this. So I came up with this 3C. I said, before you do any of these things in a pressure-like situation, calm down. First, calm down. You know, the pressure-like situation won't happen when you're hearing somebody speak, like me. It's like when you're tense, calm down, then clarify. Hi, John, what are we going to talk today? I never asked him, never gave him a chance. I never had a chance. I started off. And then communicate. Part of the communicating is listening. I should have listened to John. Why are you here? Instead of that, I was talking. I was telling him what I knew rather than trying to find out what I didn't know. So I took the message. I was going to see the patient. Calm down. Is this my patient or somebody else's patient? Mrs. Brown, Amit Ghosh. Mrs. Brown, Amit Ghosh is written there. Okay, I'm ready. Calm down. Open the door. Clarify. Mrs. Brown, I'm Dr. Ghosh. Yes, I've been waiting for you last 10 minutes. Yes. What will we discuss today? Communicate. So I have 3 points for you, ladies and gentlemen. These things will happen. You have to look before you leap in Mayo Clinic and anywhere you go, only when you are in pressure situations. So whenever you're in pressure situation, calm down and compose. Number 2, whenever you're talking too much, calm down because you're talking crap. You have to calm down, you have to listen. You've already jumped over and you're already in the thing, okay, this guy will be bypassed for the next promotion for the next 5 years. No promotion for Amit Ghosh. He talks too much, right? Learn to communicate. Part of it is listening.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, and we will have 1 minute for evaluation. Moving on to our next section, we are going to do table topics. Table topics is a chance for someone or someones to speak extemporaneously. It's still the hardest thing for me to do in the entire universe. I would like to welcome Ryan, who, interesting fact about Ryan is that his great-grandparents are still living and who has children. There are 5 living generations of Ryan's family. Let's welcome Ryan.
Madam Toastmaster, yes, fellow Toastmasters. As Chris made mention, that part of my role is twofold, and that is that of topic for table topics. One being to engage, to help everyone have a chance to participate and speak. The other is to help with situations to be able to speak, I guess, off the cuff or impromptu, impromptu speeches. And so with the season of Halloween quickly approaching, I thought it would be, I guess, appropriate to have a table topic of this topic. 1 or 2. Let's do 1. Okay. So how it works is I'll explain what the topic is, and then a volunteer, or I'll call on someone to come and participate. So I'll state the topic. So imagine you're newly elected the President of the United States. You currently do not like the way Halloween is celebrated. How would you like, or what would you suggest the new way to celebrate Halloween? What would that be? What would it look like? Any volunteers? Right here. Wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that at this point in 2015, Halloween has gone soft. Kids are just not as scared as they should be anymore, you know? I mean, really, who's to blame? Science. Right? Science has demystified that creaky sound that in the middle of the night. Science has disproved so many of the old superstitions that we had in our culture. So we need to bring back the scariness, right? So what are kids scared of these days? One thing, a power outage in a gaming device not working, right? So rolling blackouts throughout the country. Right? Another suggestion is bring back, I don't know who among you may have had an experience as a child sticking your hand in an unknown jar and what is in there? You know, are they eyeballs or are they just peeled grapes? You know, are they brains or cooked macaroni? We need more of this. We need more of this. I encourage people to think of innovative ways to reuse food and to teach children that maybe these are decomposing body parts. We just don't know. So, as the newly elected President of the United States, rolling blackouts and reusing of food to terrify children.
Typically thought of as an onerous task. Greg blew that out of the water. So with that, I'll turn the time over back to our Toastmaster.
All right, well now is that magical moment where we flip from our speeches to our evaluation mode. And for that, I would like to welcome up our general evaluation Amy. Amy is to improve the club, which is like one of the things that makes this role today so suitable for her. Welcome, Amy.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most honored guests, thank you for joining us today for our open house. As Cece mentioned, I am the general evaluator for the meeting, and so I will facilitate the evaluation portions. What I'd like to do is to call up our first evaluator. I'm searching for her in the audience. There she is in red, Deanna. Deanna's been with our club since December of 2012. She is actually an award-winning evaluator. We have competitions both at the club level and higher, and Deanna has completed those competitions and been award-winning on the levels up from our club, which is fantastic. Deanna currently works in communications for the Division of Cardiology and joined Toastmasters as a way to develop presentation skills for her career as well as leadership roles. Welcome, Deanna.
Madam Toastmaster, Madam General Evaluator, guests today, most welcome guests. Now I have the onerous task of living up to Amy's wonderful introduction of me, but most especially John. It was a pleasure to do your evaluation today, and I'd like to recognize the fact that John has now achieved 10 speeches, which is all the projects in this manual, which if you are a brand new Toastmaster, you will receive. We'll start today's evaluation by talking about the topic. It was a very good topic, I think, timely and appropriate for everyone in the audience, so you did a very good job of selecting an inspirational topic for us today. I'd like to mention that John had 3 key points, as Ahmet in his speech mentioned, is 3 points make an excellent speech. People can remember 3 points, and you did a great job of organizing those 3 points for us. Evaluating your attitudes, failing forward, which is a great concept, and encouraging others. So thank you for bringing those points to us. One item that I think you could improve on for the next time you present, your speech today wasn't as forceful as I would like to see it, in that you were a little bit soft-spoken and hard for me to hear at times, so I would like you to be conscious of that going forward and just think about the back of the room and whether they can hear you. You had great stories that really painted a picture for us, so I think you did an excellent job of making the analogy from your stories, such as, you know, having to reach into your car, through your car window. That was a great story, and how you started your opening with your tie didn't match, you forgot your belt. Also great use of humor in your speech, and we appreciate that. I'd also like to point out for our guests here today that John also had great use of body language, and we saw him moving around, which is nice to see somebody comfortable enough on stage that they're not just frozen in one place. And you had great gestures and eye contact, so well done on that as well. I just would like to finish by saying you did a great job. I love the topic. Can't wait to hear your next speech. Thank you.
We have two speakers today who formally prepared their speeches, which means we then have two evaluators. One evaluator paired up with each speaker. I'd like to introduce our second evaluator, Andrew. Andrew's been with our club for approximately 2 months, so he's fairly new to Toastmasters. He's been here at Mayo for 4 years and has lived in Rochester for 8 years and currently works in HR benefits. Please help me welcome Andrew.
I mean, it's always good to hear your speeches. Always energetic, always exciting. You really got me entranced with thinking this was all about the mentorship that we do at Toastmasters. I was so entranced, until halfway you changed the direction and said it was actually about another mentorship that you give. I think it was really good that you brought it out, especially today at the open house where we have so many guests, and it really shows everybody that we don't just throw you out to the lions, and that we do have mentorships and we do help new members. What I would like to see improved is when you were talking to John about the mentorship, your pace got picked up very quickly. And I understand you were trying to make a point of leaping before looking, but it got so quick that I couldn't almost figure out what you were talking about the mentorship and what was going on. So I liked the increase in the pace, but maybe it was a little too much. But what I also did like about your speech is how your introduction really brought us out and pointed out what you wanted to say today. You wanted to point out the leap, then looking. And you did that, and you also came back at the end and brought us all back in after your stories and came and said that that you can't always leap before you look, and you made 3 good points at the end for us all to look at and for us to look before making our decisions. As always, a very great speech, and thank you for speaking today.
From a couple additional evaluators earlier on in the meeting who came forward and explained their roles, one of which was our grammarian. I'd like to at this time call him back up where he will tell us how we did with our connectors and picturesque words. Again.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. I forgot to tell the word of the day in the beginning, so I'll tell it now. It's onerous, it's an adjective, and it means difficult and unpleasant to do or deal with. And I'm very happy that 4 of the speakers who came over here used that word. Chris Nib once, Abby once, Ryan once, and Deanna once. Now the connectors. John, you did excellent. One soul. Ryan, you used, by the way, Amit's excellent speech, no connectors. Very nice. Ryan, only 3 souls and 1 Greg, just 2 R's and 1 soul. It was an impromptu speech, so that's excellent. Andrew, you had 4 and 3 R's, so very good. Thank you so much.
And Chris, from the back of the room, who's been keeping track of the time as we've been going through our meeting today, come on up, give us a timer's report.
the time. Pretty good if I do say so myself. Abby, as the humorist, you're very, very inspirational at 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Speaker number 1, you had requested 5 to 7, and you used up 6 minutes and 3 seconds. Very good job. Amit, you requested 9 to 7 minutes. With all that humor, I gave you grace with 9 minutes and 58 seconds and no buzzer. Greg, I will vote for you because you came in at 1 minute and 41 seconds. You were within the budget. It's good to know for presidential material. Deanna, your evaluation came in at 2 minutes and 35 seconds. You did very good, while I forgot to time you with the lights. These are not the lights we're looking for. All right, Andy, you evaluated Amit at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Very well done.
As your general evaluator, I also have the privilege, if I can say that word correctly, of providing a general evaluation of the meeting overall. One of the things that we're looking for is for our Toastmaster, was she prepared? Did she facilitate the meeting very well? I think she did, and even more so, I think, than maybe we see in some of our regular clubs. Yes, having the additions to the introductions, making sure we know about a topic of an upcoming speech in November. We talked about the hook. It hooks us, it helps us. I want to know more about people. I want to see and hear that speech that's coming up in November. Fantastic job in the facilitation and introductions today. One of the things I might suggest, I don't know if you snuck it in early on and I didn't hear it, but I didn't turn off my phone until Amit mentioned it in his speech, and I went, thankfully nobody's went off, mine included. But that might be a thing, the only recommendation I can add to the fantastic job that you did today. Abby, I'm going to pick on you about projecting your voice. Those in the back of the room, did you hear Abby and her inspiration talk in the beginning? A little bit, it's tough, and it's one of those things that even I struggle with. I'll sit in meetings and people will say, Amy, project. I can't hear you over here. It's just sometimes the way that we are, and there will be special tidbits that you learn in Toastmasters that maybe don't apply to other people, but you learn how to overcome where you may have some work to do. You'll hear that I've learned it from Abby and hearing some suggestions that Abby has received in her speeches. So it's not just about your own experience, but also learning through osmosis. What are other people doing that I might incorporate in my own experience as well? With that, I'm going to turn it back over to our Toastmasters to close our meeting.
Well, now you have been through almost an entire Toastmasters meeting, and maybe you've seen the way that Toastmasters meeting is like learning to ride your bike at your grandparents' house with your aunts and uncles around you. We very much try to create a safe environment where we can encourage you, give you tips and help without making you feel bad. I would like now to invite up our president to give his president's report, and I believe he might be introducing the officers. All right, let's welcome back Chris.
Thank you, Madam Postmaster. I want to start off by saying Stacy needs a round of applause. Amy mentioned she has raised the bar high for the Toastmaster role. She has done a phenomenal job. She was mentioned earlier that she was both the chair and Toastmaster.
I just have to check. That's because the first time I was a Toastmaster, I completely bombed.
Your retribution is accepted. So, as mentioned, I am the president this year. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I want to say that joining the High Nooners 2 years ago, it has been both an honor and a privilege, as well as an honor and a privilege to serve as the president of the club. And this club just blows me away with the invitations and the welcomeness that we strive, and 15-plus guests is a wonderful testament to how well that we work together and enjoy doing so. With that being said, I then would like to welcome or introduce the rest of our officers, and if you wouldn't mind standing when I call your name. Deanna Constance is our VP of Education. She has been here since December of 2012. And on top of what has already been mentioned, her personal life includes 2 grown children, 3 dogs, 3 chickens, 2 backyard beehives, 2 frogs, and oh yes, a husband in a pear tree.
Plum tree, it's a plum
A
tree.
plum tree, thank you. See, I just learned something new. Amy Roberts, she was our general evaluator. She is also our VP of membership. And she has been a Toastmaster since 2008. She has more awards than I can carry. I think I do not want to repeat all that. That would be a tongue twister. But she is a very accomplished speaker. She has many speakers and leadership awards. On top of the Conflict Communicator Manual, there is a Conflict Leadership Manual to complete as well. And she's done all of that. Jenny Allen, thank you. Jenny Allen is not able to be here today. She is our VP of Public Relations. If you have seen our invitation on Yammer, she is on there. She has done a great job of helping to promote this on Yammer. And her hobbies include spending time with family and friends and her cabin up north. She has been a Toastmaster since 2013, and she joined to increase her confidence in impromptu speaking and to enhance her leadership skills. Tanya Taft Morello is our secretary. She had to leave for another meeting, but she joined in March 2013 and has served many roles in Officers Club, as well as being an area governor last year. And her personal goal this year is to earn her Conflict Communicator. Sarah Jenkins in the back, she is our treasurer. She's been in High Nooners for almost 2 years, starting with Speechcraft and Community Ed. She's a statistician, a lot of involvement in education, and the treasurer role fell into her lap, hopefully not on any knitting that she was working on. And that itself is working out great for us, given her innate gift for fastidious financial habits. And then John Potter, you heard one of his speeches, he is our Sergeant at Arms. Sergeant at Arms is responsible for the room, the environment, and our physical property. He is doing a wonderful job making sure that all of our props are out and the room is set up and everybody has their materials. And as mentioned, he is 1 year pretty close today and a very eager speaker. It's not often that a person can do 10+ project speeches in a year. And one thing that we learned in his speeches this year, that he enjoys family time, historical reenactments, homemade salsa, and wood carving. Thank you. With all of that, I don't want to put us any more over time. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Chris. Normally I would read out who has roles next week, but we're really over time, so I'm just one last thing to say before I let you go. My name is Stacy Johnson. You have seen all of our officers stand up. So if you're interested in joining or interested in learning more, feel free to email or call me or talk to me afterwards, or any one of our officers. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Awesome, very good.
Help yourself to more egg rolls. If you don't have any egg rolls, you'll be wonton for more.
She got that in there.
I did. His mom's
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
How did you hear about us?
What's that?